Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 8. Today we want to show you our presentation about child-centered approach in Asia. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Siti Khodijah and my team members are Aprilia Hayati and Siti Komariah Tanjung. So, I'm going to talk about teaching English to young learners in Hong Kong. Hong Kong education system. Hong Kong education system is overseen by the Education Department. Students in Hong Kong are entitled to compulsory and free education from 6 to 15 years of age. Children in Hong Kong attend kindergarten for about 2-3 years, followed by primary school for 6 years, and 3 years of junior secondary, and another 3 years of senior secondary. Role and status of English in Hong Kong. The uses of English are mainly for instrumental purposes. First, government. English is used to be governmental language before Chinese became an official language. The second is business. English is used to do business with non-Chinese speakers. The third is academic. English is used in academic for study purpose as well as abroad where many local students continue their study. For Hong Kong learners, a good command of English has become prerequisite for further study and the key to better job prospects. The primary school learning context. Students are enrolled school for morning session around 8 to 12:45 and the afternoon session for 1 to 5:45. Chinese is a language of instruction in almost all primary schools, and English is the only other language commonly taught as a timetabled subject in primary schools. Teaching is often textbook dominated. This reliance on a textbook is also related to the fact that many teachers lack confidence in their own English skills. So the textbook becomes a guide for teachers to teach. Primary English teacher, teacher education. Hong Kong Institute of Education is the main supplier of teacher education in Hong Kong. Teacher characteristics. Hong Kong primary teacher is a hardworking and dedicated teachers. There are two main difficulties about untrained language teachers. First, their own language proficiency and their lack of awareness of appropriate language teaching methodology. The primary English curriculum, topic-oriented curriculum, a model where the curriculum is divided into subject areas and there is little flexibility for cross-curricular activity. The main premise of topic-oriented curriculum is that students should be actively involved in their own learning and in the construction and development of knowledge and ideas.
I am Aprilia Hayati. I will continue to explain about teaching English to young learners in Korea. Teaching English as a foreign language (EFL) to young English language learners (ELS) as opposite to adults present a different challenge to the EFL teacher. Clear identification of this challenge can then inform future syllabus design and delivery, subsequently improving learners' outcomes. These learning outcomes can be further enhanced by identification of the achievements by which EFL teaching needs to be adapted to best accommodate for ELS needs. Learning styles in Korean develop from kinesthetic to visual to auditory following development. Adult students show a preference for various learning styles, visual, aural, and kinesthetic learning styles, while the learning model for children is the primary sensory method. Visually oriented learners like to learn by doing exercise such as word lists and groupings. Orally oriented learners show a preference for jobs involving taps and practicing hard. Kinesthetic learners show a preference for exercise that require physical movement such as miming and role-playing. Primary sensory method learning style is a learning process that involves the use of all senses so the students can understand learning easily and be useful for life.
Hello, my name is Siti Komariah. So on this occasion, I will to explain about teaching English to young learners in India. So let's go to check this out video. Teaching English to young learners in India. The child-centered approach, or CCA, is increasingly promoted within English and internationally as a response to the challenge of delivering quality education. From identifying and examining Indian indigenous and global concept of CCA within traditional and contemporary child-centered pedagogic discourse. The child-centered approach, or CCA, has emerged from international agencies as a panacea to the quality issue with benefits ranging from greater child participation and motivation to positive social and economic outcomes. The government of India adopted CCA as a response to the pervasive challenge of delivering quality education, and it quickly named within official discourse to deter teachers from the existing dominant teacher-centric approach, or TCA, characterized by over-reliance on textbooks and rote learning, influenced by the achievement of UNESCO. Next, there are several parts of the child-centered pedagogy, namely there are 4 parts. One, global and Indian concept of child-centered pedagogy. In the case of India, a philosophy essential child-centered can be tracked to the pre- and post-independence era that was conceptualized by key thinkers include Gandhi, Aurobindo, and Vivekananda. Next, number 2, the Indian child-centered tradition, a theoretical framework. The philosophies conceptualized within India will be referred to as the Indian child-centered traditional. Indian child-centered traditional already exists. However, it must also be acknowledged that its growth remains fledgling. Number 3, domestic and international agendas and CCA, a globalist pedagogy. The globalist nature of international agencies has played a significant part in the popularity of CCA since education and globalization are fundamental mutually implicative categories. Next is about researching the teacher within CCA in India. Okay, 1. Context. The context in here is the research was conducted in 2 private elementary schools in Mumbai, India, as a multiple case study of a dual case design. Both schools were lovely private school with a large intake of children living in some of the poorest residential areas of the city. It was estimated by school staff that about 90% of parents work as household staff, and the majority were illiterate, with few having completed primary schooling. Number 2, it's about research method. Research method involved online, one-to-one, semi-structured interviews in English via Skype with 6 teachers, 1 head teachers, and one teacher trainer over a 3-month period in 2011. The interviews we conducted as a telephone discussion without the use of video conferencing software to protect research participant identities. Number 3 is about complexities of data collection. A teacher trained from Mumbai provided details of 2 schools that had given consent to participate in the research. Critically, these 2 schools were selected on the basis that they were registered with the state as recognized. An article followed the national curriculum and undertook examination conducted by the Maharashtra State Board. Number 4 is about data analysis. All of the interviews were transcribed verbatim using computer software. Each transcript from the interviews was constructed employing a coding system to distinguish major themes and then further ascertain the subcategories interlinking within these themes. Next is about presentation of findings, implication of the prescribed agenda. Number 1 is about the changing role of the teacher. A dominant theme centered on the changing role of the teacher within elementary education. Most of the teachers regularly comment on the TCA, suggesting that CCA was the polar opposite to classify TCA, nations of rote learning, lecturing at the front, lacking creativity, and memorizing textbooks were prevalent. Number 2 is about the prescribed schooling system. According to Sabrina, we are bound by the textbook, examinations and deadlines, and to an extent the school system. All of the teachers could agree the system was driven predominantly by summative assessment. Number 3 is about limited professional status. Most of the teachers, however, believe their profession was poorly valued within society since it was generally regarded as a mediocre job. Perhaps a more alarming issue is demonstrated by the comments of the younger teachers who expressed frustrations with this dominant mentality in society. Number 4 is about the influential role of the West. Some of the teachers highlight their understanding of CCA and the influence of Western culture. The child-centered approach was widely viewed as an international pedagogy. The notion of catching up was also referred to by Sylvia, who described CCA as a new popular development informed by recent research that has caused its growth in India. Next, and the last is discussion of the findings, the problematic nature of the child-centered pedagogy is about limited role of the child-centered teacher. It could be said that a plethora of examples provided by the teachers ultimately demonstrates their limited role and contested concepts of child-centered teachers. Drawing attention initially onto the notion of autonomy, one of example is blurred conceptual parameter defining what the teachers understood autonomy to be and their relationship to the child. Most of the teachers refer safe and increase and in the child's independence over their learning through free movement as demonstrative of the teacher being out of control. Yet, this concept seems to relate more to behavior management, not how much autonomy the teacher have. Number 2 and the last is underlying agendas of CCA. It is important to just consider these possible underlying agendas sustaining the development of CCA internationally. This will allow specific comments by the teachers to surface and by situating this voice within the wider international discourse ultimate expose the problematical nature of the pedagogy renewal on an international level. So, as highlighted within the findings, any child-centered philosophies have predominantly been referred to as the internationally recognized version of CCA. This is indicated through the reference to its newness as a concept, its widespread integration by international schools and agencies, and what the teacher believed what was Western integration within Indian policy.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope you got the point. And the last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.